From Nation's capital, this is News Today with me, Zach Sherman. The headline. Special Presidential Prosecution Team provides update to the House's Judicial Committee. Please for the establishment of fast-track corruption code. Representative Roslyn Dennis terms as witch hunt the seizure of Representative Koluba's family passport. Those plus more are for you this evening. Keep watching. Welcome back and thanks for rejoining us. Special Presidential Committee headed by Liberia's Solicitor General, Consuelo Serena's Cephas, has revealed plans to prosecute and retrieve money allegedly stolen by past officials of government. The Asset Investigation Recovery and Executive Team that's suspended before the close. But the Judicial Committee today was headed by Serena Cephas. Speaking at the Capitol building today was Serena Cephas, who reassured his commitment in making sure those who perpetrated or barely took money belonging to the people will be prosecuted.
Our strategic plan, the first is to review and analyze all audit reports and subsequently categorize all auditees into groups. The exercise will determine the gravity of the discrepancy, whether same was deliberately committed to defraud the Liberian government of needed revenues, which will form the basis for possible indictment or criminal prosecution, or whether it was inadvertently committed and the economic injury sustained therefrom is not egregious enough to suggest criminality. That one approach. The auditees are then listed as persons of interest or institution of interest, and there will be formally extended letters of invitation to appear before the Asset Investigation, Restitution, and Recovery Team, ARET, to respond to specific questions arising out of the audits. There will be no question, there will be no witch hunt. Every question that will be asked during the process of review and analyzation will be based on what the audit has found. As we speak, letters are being sent out. You will not hear about that. Today, at the end of the day, when the letters are distributed, the official spokesman of the team, who happens to be Councillor Gu, when they say ARET has started to work and distributed letters to persons of interest here and there, that will be done. Because some of the people that will be appearing will want to do so in confidence, and they want to make restitution without being, exposed. So that's the procedure. So if we find, after the investigation and review process, and they find out that it's an indictable offense, you'll be given the opportunity whether you want to make restitution or you want to go for prosecution.
Consuelo Cephas also used the occasion to disclose information relative to available evidences in the possession of the team. He meanwhile recommended the opening of a fast-track corruption code that will expeditiously handle corruption cases.
We have in our possession, as we speak, Mr. Chair, a quantum of recycled checks that are being reviewed over a period of 10 years, where individuals at the Ministry of Finance in the last administration were doing recycled checks, for example, for checks in Liberian dollar. They were simultaneously issuing the same checks in United States dollar. So if, for instance, you were to get 400,000 Liberian dollar, they will face that same 400,000 in US dollar. Those checks will be local. And certain individuals were involved. But that still requires some level of clearinghouse to deal with that. What we got simply a quantum of evidence, but the people involved need to be confronted. So, apart from the GSC report, apart from the Special Presidential Task Force report, which is so credible, we also want to look at the issue of recycle checks at the Ministry of Finance over the last 10 years. One of the things that we also started to work on, Arthur Johnson and I, is that when we're in Europe, we're also thinking about the issue of working with the committee and other institutions at the Liberian legislature to see about the creation of a fast-track code we call Criminal Code F, which will be the corruption code. Because the 1956 code contains so many bottlenecks, so many hurdles. For example, Mr. Chair, this is not an attack on our system, but this is for our own education. Somebody is accused of stealing, for instance, $2.6 billion Liberian dollar. When you convert it, it's about $16 million. The person is only required to post $60,000 bail bond, criminal appearance, but this is absolutely ludicrous. It's ludicrous. So you can see, but that is the law, and we have to live with it. That's the problem we're talking about. But in this fight, we're taking it at a new level, never seen before.
Meanwhile, the chairman on Judiciary, Councillor Fananti Kufa, says the committee supports the fight against corruption, but stressed the need for the process to be holistic and responsible. His statement was flanked by Representative Roslyn Dennis, who also called on the team to look into the infusion of the 25 million into the Liberian economy.
We support the fight, the responsible and competent fight against corruption. What you heard here today were several concerns. Number one, we want to make sure that there is no witch hunt, that there's an ongoing corruption of past and current investigation across all branches of government and in a professional way that you have described. And as long as you do that, I think you will find a willing committee that will fight with Honorable Kafi Adem to make sure your $2.1 million is secured in your budget to fight your corruption. I'm concerned that there appears not to be a coordination between you and the LACC. We are going to invite the LACC next week to see what is their role in the war on corruption and what is their view. To the extent that we have legislative powers that can manage to cure whatever the tension is, creative or otherwise, and then also bring to vote quickly the issue of this corruption code, so that this issue we can finally nail it down in our country to where we proceed in a manner in which it is indeed the institutions of government are deterrent. We admire the fight. We think the fight began some while back. We think you have raised it to a level that we appreciate, and we will continue to stay seized of this matter.
I would be happy to see this body functioning. Firstly, to begin with the 25 million. I was on Dennis. I said, and I believe, it is robbery in broad daylight. And the reason that I said that is that even in the house, we have not been allowed to openly attack that 25 million. And I said, if you check the 25 million, it's in link with the 16 billion. So if this arm can do that justice for the Liberian people and for us, because what is it? The core international expert came and we stay here documentation for which we missed that opportunity to give us transparency for the 25 million. The presidential team, PRT, right? They still have sticker issue in having evidence for the 25 million. So if you want us to believe you, you start, and I will support you every day. As long as I got left and breath, I'm willing to fight and do something for corruption. But if you cannot start with the 25 million, as Chairman said, there are already corruption going on.
Montserrat County District 4 representative has described as witch hunt recent decision by the government of Liberia to prevent the family of Representative Yeke Kolba at the Rebel International Airport. According to the government of Liberia, though, the Ministry of Information did not stop the family of Mr. Kolba instead, thus migration officers, instead in keeping with the anti-human trafficking regulations. But Representative Rosalind Dennis said the government's decision was a violation of the rights of her colleagues.
The issue I got from there that drew my attention to have to speak to the Liberian people, to speak to the press, is that I think the government is becoming unbecoming when it comes to this Onrokolba issue. And I personally feel that her rights were violated, and especially those innocent babies. And I do not want what we do up here at the capital, our critical stance that we take, that will have that negative impact on the children. And I was very pathetic to see that the children who are not involved with any critical stance in government, they have been treated for witch hunt that I tell me on the fathers. My point, and I want us to analyze it in our various media outlets and see if it makes sense. Granted, the government used her power to prevent child trafficking. Why give the children back to the would-be trafficker? Where are the children? Had government taken the children and putting them in government custody to verify as to whether these children, they are Onrokolba children or they are the children of Onrokolba wife? Then it makes more sense. Then we will not only be critical on the government, but we'll talk to our colleagues and say that is the procedure, that is the way forward. But if you will take their passport on grounds that you want to protect them, that their mother could be trafficking the children or without the consent of the father, why give the children back to the would-be or the suspected trafficker? So I think I want to condemn that. It's an act of witch hunt.
Well, if you just joined us, this is a reminder that you are watching News Today only on KMTV. With me, Zach Sherman. Stories we are following. Special Presidential Prosecution Team provides updates on the House's Judicial Committee pleas for the establishment of fast-track corruption code. Representative Rosalind Dennis terms as witch hunt the seizure of Representative Koloba's family passports. And more still here to come for you. Keep watching as we take this short break. Welcome back and thanks for rejoining us. This is News Today with me, Zach Sherman. With 11 days to Liberia's 172nd independence celebration, a cross-section of women groups are standing tall in a strive to make the day a remarkable one. The Women Committee for the celebration of July 26 has been mobilizing and encouraging women to come in the masses with wantonness, according to one of the committee heads, Ambassador Judy Enin. This year's celebration honored the theme "Together We Are Strong" is a national call to duty that should be considered throughout the nation.
It's overwhelming. We have a lot and lots of women that have worked with us, women we have now worked with. They are all coming and pledging their support to go into the communities and mobilize the people. And then it turned out, these are just the leadership of the various structures that are going to turn out at the SKD on July 26th. And for us, the theme for this year is "Together We Are Stronger." That is powerful. If we come together, we'll be strong. If we come together, Liberia will rise. If we come together, Liberia will succeed. If we come together, Liberia will be developed. So the theme is so, the timing is so great that we, the women of Liberia, have agreed to support this initiative, especially Crusaders for Peace. That's what we do. And so for us, it's just work as usual. And it's amazing in a way that we are celebrating our 172nd anniversary, our independence. And this celebration for us means a lot. And that's why we like the word, together we are stronger. And the concert, the Peace and Reconciliation concert, is under the leadership of our president. We have traditional women, different women groups, different organizations, just helping the women of Liberia, Mai Makane, Rosalind Towe, just Wangoso, just to make sure that this day is a success.
General Minister Wilhelmina Piso Sedital has expressed optimism for the concurrence of the domestic violence bill recently passed at the House of Representatives. According to her, the Senate is groomed with people who are sensitive to domestic violence against women and girls in the country. She noted if the bill is considered by the Senate, it will guarantee the respect for women and children in the country.
There's a lot of things that have happened for women that maybe we're not out there in the spotlight, we're not doing live camera action, so a lot of people don't know. A lot of them, what people do, got gender ministry in the country say, what they're doing, blah, blah, blah. I know, unfortunately, sorry for that, we've got all these proliferation of issues happening with rape, with domestic violence and all of that. But outside of those negatives, we've got a lot of positive things that are happening. And in all our distress around the gender-based violence and all of that, we're going to be able to appreciate the good that is happening also. So this year, the way I see it, between last year and now, when I start cataloging all the different things that we have for women, the too much good happening for women, I want to make sure that we are able to seize the day as we go into the celebration of July 26th, to speak about those things, to highlight those things that are happening positively for women. And we're happy right now, like we said, the lower house has passed the bill. And hopefully between now and next week, we'll be really rejoicing now because the actual full bill, now it will be going to the president, because the president gets to sign it into law. So the little gains that we have, we are capitalizing on it. And that bill is not only about women, about the young children, it's about the elderly, about vulnerable people, anybody that is perpetrated against in a way that is covered in the domestic violence bill will be protected under that bill.
A team of authorities from the Gambian National Police have arrived in the country in an effort to consider Liberia National Police as a case study in strengthening their security sector. They comes barely days after Liberia was pronounced as one of the world's most peaceful nations among sister countries. Making the welcome remarks Monday at the LMP headquarters, Inspector General Patrick Sulu noted the visit of the Gambian police as a plus to the security sector.
Europe, you have studied all the work here, you love this country, so you decide to do your case study here. And I will say to you all, when you are working, you should do it with perfection. You don't know who is looking at you, you don't know who is taking track of what all you are doing. This is clearly evidenced by the Inspector General here seated by me, or Inspector General Juve. He left the Gambia to come to Liberia so as to compare notes to see how did we manage to gravitate from where we were. The Liberia's experience, I think it is a good experience. We must go back to Liberia to find out how they gravitate to the level of the form unit group. So we too can learn from them and go back to Gambia and restructure our form unit. this is laudable. The Inspector General here, he was an instructor here, he taught most of you seated here today, and now he's back here in the capacity of Inspector General and also back here to learn from you all again. You see, so this is a vicious circle.
Meanwhile, the Inspector General of the Gambian National Police has hailed LMP for the warm welcome and requested the continued partnership between the two countries. This, the Gambian IG noted, will increase capacity building among police officers.
Let us understand that in a democratic society, the citizens have a right to assemble, have a right to express their concerns, either for or against the government in any way. But then those rights are subjected to certain conditions which are similar to what you have in your country. And that similarity is where you want to do that demonstration, it has to pass through a process. And that process is to say, yes, we will accept it to happen. And if we give the acceptance, we should be able to give the necessary protection that is needed. Whereas we feel it is to your best interest, we will refuse the permit under certain conditions. The unit that I want to restructure is a unit that has been, or that has involved in an operational activity leading to the death of 3 protesters, and that has been an outcry all over the country and beyond. With us, in what we have in the Gambia, situation like that, if it happens, all that we are supposed to do is to allow the government, not me as IGP, but allow the government to establish an independent commission of inquiry. Because whereas there is an operation, and in that operation leads to the death of any person, that should become a subject of an inquiry by an independent team.
With that, we come to the end of today's news presentation, but before we go home, here once again the headline. Special Presidential Prosecution Team provides updates to the House's Judicial Committee, pleas for the establishment of fast-track corruption code. Representative Rustalin Dennis terms as witch hunt the seizure of Representative Koluba's family passports. Thanks for being there. I am Zach Sherman. Good night.